All right, welcome. Today, we are diving into something really cool, a sixth grade math lesson. Yeah, you heard that right. But trust me, this is not your average lesson. It uses an ancient story to unlock some of math's biggest, most important rules in a way you've probably never seen before. Let's see how it works. So, that leads us to the big question for today. How on earth can a story about a journey through a desert explain really abstract math concepts? I mean, it sounds kind of weird, right? But the source material for this is just brilliant at connecting the two, and it makes these complex ideas feel, well, super intuitive and easy to remember. You see, the whole lesson is built on one simple idea. Math itself is a journey. It's got paths, it's got starting points, and it's got destinations. And just like any good journey, to navigate it, you need a set of reliable tools. So today, let's unpack those tools. Now, to make this journey feel real, the lesson uses the story of Moses leading his people through the wilderness as this really powerful metaphor. Suddenly, every math problem becomes a small part of this bigger adventure, and the rules of math, well, those become the actual tools you need to find your way. Okay, so our first tool on this journey is a really powerful one, the inverse property. Honestly, you can just think of it as the ultimate undo button in math. It's a way to reverse your steps and get you right back to where you started. So what is it exactly? Well, the inverse property is this simple but actually pretty profound idea that for every single action you take in math, like adding or multiplying, there's an equal and opposite reaction that just cancels it out. Let's see how the story brings this to life. Here's how the story makes this super concrete. Picture this. Moses starts out with 5 jars of water. He gives 3 away, but then, a little later, he gets 3 back. The action is perfectly reversed. He ends up exactly where he began, with 5 jars. The balance is totally restored. And that's the key takeaway, right there. The action of subtracting 3 was perfectly undone by the action of adding 3. They're inverses of each other. It's like this perfect, self-correcting loop. And hey, this isn't just for addition and subtraction. The exact same logic works for multiplication and division. So if Moses divides 6 people into 3 groups of 2, how does he undo that? Easy. He just multiplies those 3 groups by 2, and boom, he's right back to his original 6 people. Division is undone by multiplication. Simple as that. All right, so if our first tool was all about reversing our steps, our second tool is all about knowing how to stay put. It's called the identity property. And you can think of it like a reliable landmark on our journey, something that just never, ever changes. The identity property is all about these special numbers that, when you use them in an operation, don't change the original number's value, or its identity, at all. It's basically the mathematical version of taking a step but ending up in the exact same spot. So for addition, that special magic number is 0. In the story, if Moses starts with 7 jars and it gives away 0 jars, how many does he have left? Well, he still has 7, of course. Adding 0 doesn't change a thing. It keeps the number's identity. And for multiplication, that special number is 1. If you take the number 3 and multiply it by 1, you still have 3. Multiplying by 1 keeps that original number's identity perfectly intact. It's a constant. So now we've got these 2 really powerful tools. One for undoing what we've done, and one for staying the same. And when you put them together, they build a mathematical system that is just perfectly balanced and totally predictable. It really just boils down to this. The inverse property is our undo button, getting us right back to the start. The identity property is our stay put button, making sure a value doesn't change. So one restores and the other preserves, and together they create the stability that makes all of math work. Now, to really anchor this idea of a system that can always restore its own balance, the lesson connects it to this deeper theme of trust and stability, and it uses this quote to do it. The point is to show that, just like these math rules, some things can be relied on to stay constant and bring things back to order. So, why does any of this matter? What's the big deal? Well, because it's not really just about the rules themselves. It's about how we learn them. The real lesson here is about the incredible power of a good story. All right, let's do a quick challenge to make sure this is locked in. You ready? How would you undo the operation in 12 minus 6? By adding 6 back. Of course. Easy, right? Okay, next one. How would you undo 10 plus 5? You just subtract 5. See? It's that simple. One tool to reverse, another to keep things the same.
So simple, but so powerful.
So, the most crucial point of this entire explainer is this. Sometimes, the best way to understand an abstract, really complex idea isn't with more formulas and more jargon. It's with a simple, relatable story. Our brains are just wired for narrative. A story gives us a hook to hang all the information on, making it not just understandable, but actually memorable.
And that leaves us with one last thought for you. Think about your own life for a second. What's the most complex idea, in math or science or anything that you finally understood? Not because of a textbook, but because someone told you a simple story about it.